Welcome back to today's episode of Blacksmithing and Bible Study. That lighting is terrible, but I need it to read. That's a little better. You can't see my face at all, but it'll buff. Because I don't want to see me know how. Alright, let's get it. Come on, move. Ooh, that hurts my hand. Why did I do that? That's weird. It's not heavy enough to do that. Only 4. I'm yapping to myself a lot. My bad. Okay. Now, let's see. Nope, I'm going to take you with me. I'll read with you. That way they can see me better. They need to, but. Alright. Welcome back to today's episode of Blacksmithing and Bible Study. I think I just said that earlier. We're on episode 23. And I want to start off, I don't usually do this, but I want to ask you guys for something. I want to ask that you guys pray over me because I'm struggling with a really big decision in my life right now. Now, I need y'all's help, right? That's all I'm asking for. Now, let's get into it, shall we? So, today's topic is God's not done. I don't need these on. I'm not listening to anything. Okay, the topic. Stay up there. You're dispersing the light, so it works better. I don't actually know if it works better, but it looks like it works better. So today's topic is God's not done. So remember when we were kids and we would break a toy, or we would take it to our parents, right? And they would super glue that toy back together, right? I hope it's a universal experience. I talked around at camp and it was for at least us. Well, the Bible has proven time and time again that God, the ultimate parent, doesn't just fix our toys or fix our things, right? He fixes our soul. He super glues that back together. Like with the story of Abraham, Sarai, and her slave Hagar. Hagar, alone in the wilderness, bruised, tired, and pregnant with a son she did not choose to bear. God sought her out in the wilderness, blessed her, and named her son Ishmael. And I wrote at the top of my page, Ishmael, which means God hears. Right? So in Hagar's lowest moment in life, right? Abused by her masters, impregnated by her master's husband, right? A child she did not choose to bear and was abused because of that child. She didn't choose to bear. Again, I keep going back to that, but I just feel like that's the biggest point here is that she didn't choose this, right? It was forced upon her. And God sought her out in the woods, in the wilderness, in the spring. She's taking refuge, and he seeks her out, right? Again, we see with Job, a man who had, a man who used to have everything, right? Lost it all. Like the story of Job is basically like Elon Musk, but godly, loses everything, and through faith and faith alone, God rewards him, and he builds that back up again, right? God seeks him out in that moment because he sought God first, right? Moses was a murderer. Moses had killed people before all of this stuff. He was a well-known murderer and had run away from the persecution thereof, right? Samson fell to lust. King David broke almost, if not all, the 10 Commandments in one fell swoop with when he lusted over that man's wife and then sent his husband out to war to die. Let's see, let's count them. He lied to himself, to everybody else, saying he hadn't done it, right? He lusted, which is adultery. Murder. See, there's another one. He coveted that man's wife. That's 4 right there. And I'm sure there's more I'm just not thinking of because I've read the story in a little bit. But and later he called a man after God's own heart. Jonah ran from God's call again and again and again. We see these broken people given God's greatest work. Like, these are all stories in the Bible. This is undeniably, like, the Bible. I heard it best described. It's both a it's like how we're supposed to worship, how we're supposed to live our lives as Christians, right? But it's also God's highlight reel in a way. That's not a I don't know how I feel about calling it that, but that's kind of what it is. Like, it's not his highlights, but it's like the points that they want to point out in the story. That there's always a lesson you can take from it, right? God can and will do the same for you, right? All you have to do is trust in Him. Look at Abraham and Sarai. All they had to do, instead of Sarai giving Abraham Hagar to get her pregnant, instead of them waiting it out and letting God's promise be fulfilled about Abraham and Sarai having their own child, right? Which happens later on. They had to wait a couple more years for it to happen, though. But had they waited, then it wouldn't have caused Hagar and the people around them, Hagar chiefly, all of this pain and strife, and themselves included, right? Because it says that Sarai was deeply troubled by Hagar's pregnancy. She was mad about it, even though it was her idea to begin with, right? That's what we do as people. We're very imperfect. Jesus came to the woman at the well in what was probably the lowest point in her life, but he still worked through her to spread the gospel. For those of you who don't remember the story of the woman at the well, Jesus comes to this woman at the well in the town they're passing through, and he starts talking to her, and he asks her to get him some water, and then he tells her that anyone who drinks the water from this well will get thirsty again, but anyone who drinks the living water from him will never be thirsty again, right? Just truthful, right? But the woman says, "This is amazing. Give me the water." She says, "Go and tell your husband and tell him to come here." And she says, "I don't have a husband." And Jesus says, "You're right. You don't have a husband. You've got 5, and the one you're with now isn't your husband." And I guess Jesus just calling her out on it and knowing something that no one else could know, especially not this. Hi, get off of me. I had a dragonfly land on my back. That was kind of weird. But probably because I'm holding this big spotlight and it's dark. I can see the mosquitoes flashing in the camera. Dang it. Mosquitoes don't feel good when they bite you on scabs. But she says, truly, she believed him to be a prophet, right? Because there's no way he could know this stuff and not be a man of God. And so she goes and she spreads his word throughout the town. Big following, movement of God happens in the town because one person believed, right? Because that's the awesome part about God. You could never be too broken, too far gone. I underline that part. Revelations 1:17 through 18. I forgot to look up that part of the Bible. Let me go back and get it, okay? 1 second. Good news is it's not that hard to find Revelations. I say and then don't immediately flip to it. Hope you can hear me all right. I didn't check. I'm gonna suck if you can't, but it'll buff. I said 1:17 through 18. Okay. What? It says, "When I saw him, I fell at his feet like a dead man. He laid his right hand on me and said, do not be afraid. I am the first and the last and the living one. I was dead, but look, I'm alive forever and ever, and I hold the keys of death and Hades." Okay, and the other part is marked. That's good. I need that in just a second. You mean to tell me that the first and the last, right? The beginning and the end, the Alpha and the Omega, the Alpha and the Omega, which are the first and last letters from the Greek alphabet, for anyone who's wondering about that. You mean to tell me that the very same God who was there at the dawn of creation, it says in John, in the beginning was the Word was God, and the Word was with God, right? That's Jesus. The Word is Jesus. When you read the Word in any situation, just replace it with Jesus. Sorry, I just like a bug. But so just replace Jesus in every sense of the word, all right? But you mean to tell me that guy who's been around forever and will be around forever, since before time itself was a thing, right? You tell me that guy can't deal with your problems? That he can't work with you and fix your broken state? I got another verse to read too. We're going to Matthew 8:29. Some of you might recognize this story. It's one that we might have covered in here before. Come on. Dang it. I got it from the bottom because I had another part that I'm actively reading at Mark, so I had to mark from the bottom. Because Matthew 8:29 reads, when he had come to the other side, to the region of the Gadarenes, two demon-possessed men met him, and as they came out of the tombs, they were so violent that no one could pass that way. These guys were so aggressive that nobody could use this path, right? That alone is crazy because Jesus didn't really seek out fights, we notice, right? He doesn't seek out fights, but he's actively going towards these guys. He knows, like, there's no way he didn't know. Like, he's literally omnipotent at times. There's no way he didn't know that he wasn't going to get through this passage without a fight or something, right? Suddenly they shouted, what do you have to do with us, Son of God? Have you come here to torment us before the time? A long way off from them, a large herd of pigs was feeding. If you drive us out, the demons begged, send us into the herd of pigs. Go, he told them. So when they come out, they entered the pigs, and the whole herd rushed down the steep bank into the sea and perished in the water. Now, hold up. Let's talk about that for a second. These demons, these guys who had been tormenting the land and all these, it was a farm country, right? Because there were pigs right there, so obviously there's farmers nearby. You're telling me this land full of redneck farm people were getting bullied by these two guys. And Jesus, the carpenter's son, the peacemaker, comes up and they're terrified. They say, why do you come to torment us? Think about that for a second. They would rather be put in pigs and die than be in the presence of Jesus Christ. You're telling me that very same God can't deal with your problems? That he can't fight your demons? Despite all this evidence, you're saying he can't deal with yours. What does the Bible says all the time? Oh, ye of little faith. But I mean, I'm the exact same way sometimes. I don't feel, you know what I'm saying? Like, hello. Hey, you're loud, ain't you? Go away. I don't know if you can hear that, but it's a really loud bug. Camera on? Okay, microphone's on. I just think of another verse. It says in Romans 8:11, it's summed up to the very same power that rose Christ from the dead, the Holy Spirit, if you have accepted God, dwells within you. I want to end with that. That Jesus Christ has left the Holy Spirit for his followers. And as his followers, that is ours. Catch you on the next one.